after HyunA and DAWN's big breakup, a lot of things have happened in their lives that have had fans talking, but more exactly, there have even been speculations about how their relationship is today after Dawn was suddenly asked about ex-lovers on a reality dating show. HyunA and DAWN, once one of K-pop's most iconic and unconventional pairs, ended their 6-year relationship in late 2022. Their split shocked fans not just because of how public and rebellious their love story had been, with the tattoos, matching outfits, and the open defiance of the idol dating taboo, but because of how deeply intertwined their careers had become. So when the two announced they were breaking off their relationship, nobody could believe the news. Since then, things have truly changed as both have moved forward separately, with Dawn enlisting in the military, while HyunA made headlines in 2024 after marrying controversial singer Jung. So when Dawn returned to the public eye this fall, it was of course unavoidable that everybody would want to hear exactly how he is dealing with the breakup, especially with HyunA getting married. All eyes have therefore been on him for weeks now, and fans noticed a very distinct change in his appearance and energy that many found striking. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more insight into K-pop's juiciest news, and don't forget to leave your opinion on the situation in the comments down below. He was spotted performing at his label's after party in New York not long ago, wearing a simple outfit and looking healthier, stronger, and more grounded than before, which is what truly started the conversation. The transformation was so noticeable that comments online even included, "I hate that I didn't recognize him. He looks so good." That reaction has also sparked its own round of commentary about how Dawn's image was shaped, or perhaps constrained, during his years with HyunA. The two were known for their avant-garde fashion, bleached hair, and matching tattoos, which greatly stood out even against some of the industry's more experimental idols. But while some loved that experimental aesthetic, others felt it consumed Dawn's individuality, especially looking back on it. But while the criticism might be valid, the tone of some of the reactions also often seems to lean towards thinly veiled shade toward HyunA, reflecting just how much public sentiment has turned against her ever since the breakup and her new marriage. Some even went as far as to say, "Thank God HyunA and Dawn broke up. She had him out here looking like a sick Victorian child." However, it's hard to ignore how Dawn carries a different confidence that feels brand new. Without the bleached eyebrows, matching couple outfits, and exaggerated performances of love, it seems like Dawn might have found a new kind of maturity that speaks to just how much he's changed after his military service. That's not to say that he's an entirely new person. If anything, he has revealed quite a few things that show that he's still processing the breakup. But for the first time, Dawn seems to exist independently as an artist, not just an extension of a famous relationship, and fans have been praising his glow up no matter how or why it came about. On the other side, it also seems like HyunA has gone through her own series of visible and emotional transformations, both personal and aesthetic, that have kept her firmly in the public eye. Fans have watched as she continues to reinvent herself, this time alongside her new husband, Jung, and just like she once did with Dawn, the two have begun to mirror each other's looks and styles. While many see it as HyunA returning to the expressive and experimental self that defined her early career, others have found her new image troubling, especially as it has drawn harsh public scrutiny over her appearance. It all began earlier this summer when HyunA surprised fans with a striking new hairstyle. The singer, who had been wearing long black hair for quite some time, posted a set of photos revealing a vibrant orange bob, a bold throwback to her most eccentric eras. In the photos, Jung appeared beside her, showing off his own transformation, a bright turquoise cut, cropped short but equally out there. The bold colors of their hair immediately reminded fans of HyunA and Dawn's past relationship, when they were known for their avant-garde couple aesthetics, and seeing HyunA repeat that dynamic with her new husband naturally drew comparisons and even controversy. Many fans commented on how similar her approach was to her past relationship, noting that she is actively inspiring Jung to adapt her image. One user wrote, "HyunA's husband slowly started looking like Dawn's old version. Anyone else notice that swap?" With many interpreting it as if she were trying to recreate the things she lost by giving up Dawn, maybe even making some people right in saying that Dawn's old looks were all due to HyunA's influence. However, some also saw it as endearing and proof that HyunA is happiest when she can express herself through art and image with her partner. Regardless of the interpretation, the shift in her appearance seemed to mark a new era for HyunA. The orange hair and youthful energy in her photos also served to give fans a sense of nostalgia, especially for some more beloved times, something that could be a deliberate move in trying to shift the conversation away from her controversial marriage. But soon after, the mood surrounding her transformation changed dramatically. In early October, HyunA and her husband appeared at the airport sporting new looks once again. Both had dyed their hair back to black and were dressed in darker, edgier outfits. However, instead of focusing on their style, many netizens fixated on HyunA's body, claiming she had gained weight. The comments quickly spiraled, with some even speculating about pregnancy, others cruelly saying she had fallen from her peak, and a few went as far as to call her unrecognizable. These remarks marks spread across social media and forum sites didn't have anything to do with her controversial choices anymore and were all about her appearance, with the exact opposite intentions of the ones Dawn is getting regarding his new looks. On October 3rd, seemingly exhausted by the scrutiny, HyunA posted a response on Instagram. The post included a series of old photos where she appeared slimmer, alongside a caption written from a self-critical perspective, which said, "HyunA, you ate way too much. Get it together and go on a hardcore diet. You used to love being bone skinny. Let's do it again." The words hit fans hard, as it was clear she wasn't writing this as a joke, but rather echoing the cruel comments that had been directed at her, showing how deeply they had affected her. The post spread quickly across platforms, with one thread on the Koo gaining tens of thousands of views. Fans were heartbroken to see HyunA, who had always seemed confident and defiant in her individuality, feeling pressured to conform to impossible beauty standards again. Many flooded her comments with messages of support, urging her to prioritize her mental health and reminding others of the harmful consequences of weight shaming. One user wrote, "Bodies can become slim or gain a bit of weight from time to time. The most important thing is for Ani to have fun and stay healthy, because a happy woman is the prettiest woman." While another added, "Whatever makes you happy, but you're always the prettiest version of yourself." What's particularly painful for many fans is the contrast between Dawn's and HyunA's post-breakup trajectories. While Dawn's transformation has been praised as a glow-up, marked by comments about how healthy and peaceful he looks now, HyunA's changes have been met with harsh criticism. And it could even be the same individuals who applauded Dawn for looking stronger who have decided to pick apart HyunA for not being as thin as before. It's an uneven response that speaks volumes about how female idols are still judged differently from their male counterparts, something which is deeply unfair despite what HyunA might have done, as this can quickly become a much broader issue affecting other female idols. Even when she tries to express herself through bold fashion or her words, she's accused of clinging to the past or trying too hard, which doesn't seem to be the case for Dawn. In fact, many had sympathy for Dawn when he was placed on the spot regarding his relationship with HyunA just recently. The production team of the dating reality show Exchange 4 had reportedly been trying to get him on the show since the previous season, but he had explained that he wasn't in a position where he felt like he could do anything of that sort at the time. But now that he finally agreed to be on the show, it became quite clear what sort of intentions the crew behind the reality program had with him. With the topic turning to ex-relationships, Dawn stayed involved in the show, but his answers seemed to have a sort of detachment to them that could mean that he wasn't completely comfortable with the happenings. When the conversation suddenly turned to exes reconnecting, he kept things neutral at first, saying it would be understandable if it was hard, but things took a turn when the host suddenly aimed the question at him. He was asked how he feels about reconnecting with his exes, and clearly uncomfortable, Dawn simply answered, "I've never contacted them after breaking up, not even once. Even when they reached out, I never replied." He then even added, "I don't really understand the idea of getting back together." The panel reacted with a mix of surprise and sympathy, especially as his bluntness seemed to confirm what many suspected, that Dawn and HyunA haven't spoken since their split, and whatever connection they had is firmly in the past. Yet that didn't stop fans from reading between the lines, as some interpreted his answer as a way of also protecting himself from what had gone down and the things that unfolded while he was doing his military service. However, that didn't seem to last too long, as later in that same episode, he was actually also asked how it feels to see your ex with someone new. A female guest had shared her own story, and then the host turned directly to Dawn, asking him if he could relate as well. Surprisingly, Dawn didn't dodge the question, and after a short breath, he seemingly confirmed that yes, he can, something which switched the mood in the room as the host quickly apologized to Dawn for bringing it up. The exchange lasted only seconds, but it was raw enough to set social media ablaze. Dawn's expression said more than words could, and fans even commented that it felt cruel for the show to put him in that position, especially since everyone knew the context, making it seem like a deliberate trap for him to fall into just for some content. Still, others praised him for handling it with restraint, especially as there was no bitterness in his tone. His honesty also truly stood out, as it's not always that idols decide to put everything on the table, often having well-rehearsed cues and responses to get out of uncomfortable conversations such as this one. Yet even as Dawn's comments reopened wounds, his willingness to acknowledge that pain, to admit that seeing HyunA with someone else is difficult, only makes his recent transformation more believable, especially as he isn't pretending to be unaffected, but just choosing not to dwell on it. And when it comes to the current relationship between HyunA and Dawn now, based on Dawn's own words, there isn't one. There seems to be no actual contact and no rekindling, but also no animosity, as the two are rebuilding their lives in individual directions.